right now, I'm not a good public speaker here. I could talk about merchant services all day or advanced payments, but when I got asked to speak about AI, it's a little different. So bear with me here. But I founded a company called Call Tender. Oh, and quick disclaimer. Yes, I don't consider myself a massive techie, but I have been hobby coding for quite some time. But this is one of the few times where it wasn't just a business idea, it was actually tech behind the business that I made instead of hiring developers across the world. So Call Tender is a phone AI system that is built for local restaurants here. So tonight, as he said, you're gonna hear a lot of incredible technical talks about models and pipelines, but mine goes back even before that, goes to the why, it goes to the how. About building AI so natural that customers forget that they're using AI. That's the goal, and that's what I figured out I have to do here in order to get the customers. So, picture this, Friday night in Hawaii. The restaurant absolutely packed, waiters running between tables, taking orders, juggling 1,000 things, and the phone's ringing. Nobody can answer the phone without hurting the guest experience. Now, flip it around. You guys, you're the customers. You're calling for a takeout order, but no answer. You know they're open, you know they want your business, but they're just busy. All right, I like interactive, so raise your hand here if you guys have called anybody recently, a restaurant. I know we do a lot of stuff on the phone, but there's someone we like to call, yes? All right, how about they didn't answer the phone?
Yeah.
What did you do? Did you hang up, wait a little while, call back again?
Right.
I do on some of them if it's really good. What about a third time? Fourth time, I got one person saying 4. I love it.
You just gotta walk there. They're not gonna
But the majority of us move on to the next favorite place. And unfortunately, that means lost revenue. So this is the problem that pushed me to launch Call Tender. Every missed call is a potential lost revenue. The average takeout order in Hawaii is $68. Now, if a restaurant misses 10 calls a day, now I just lowered it to 50 just to make the math work here, but $50 at 10 a day, that's $500. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add that together for a small business, that's $182,000 in funds that just evaporated. So when I talk to people about this, I know their answer is usually, why don't you just hire somebody to answer the phone? But anybody who's ever hired anyone, I hire people all the time, I know how much of a problem it is, it's not that simple. It's another salary, it's another person to train, somebody that you hope will answer the phone the way you wish that they would, or the way you trained them to do it. It's another person for scheduling. And what is this person supposed to do on a slow Tuesday? Either ends up costing you money, or you send them home and then you have the phone. So most owners just accept it. It's another cost of doing business and a constant frustration that never goes away. So that's when it hit me. This is exactly what AI can actually make a big impact. Not by replacing people, but by catching what falls through the cracks. But to do that, I had to design for one of the toughest interfaces that you could possibly build for. Anyone here who does any kind of design for AI, you know its eyes and ears are the absolute toughest. I love how I have my notes here and I'm reading it as I'm talking. I'm like, I'm not gonna say this. But basically, you guys ever had a project where you're like, this is gonna be easy? That was the start of my 18-hour days when I was working this. I'm still working it, but it's just got a lot easier since then. So, in my lab, or my desk at home, I felt like this was absolute magic. I had built an AI that could take a custom poke bowl order with extra spicy mayo, display it on my custom kitchen display, text the order, a order confirmation that it's in process, then text them again that it's ready to pick up, put it at a point of sale so they're ready to come. As soon as they come up, the payment's ready to be taken. I seriously thought that I had solved it. This almost seemed too easy. I had cracked the code. So I launched to my first real customer, a local poker shop. So here's the thing. In the lab, everything is controlled. Everything's perfect. Perfect audio, stable internet, and the developer seems to say exactly what you programmed the AI to do and to expect. But in the real world, it's chaos. Background music blasting, customers changing their mind mid-sentences, kids screaming, unreasonably long pauses for some reason. I'm still trying to figure that one out. And the gap between the lab and life, this is where AI has to prove itself. Yes. I can play some recordings for you. So, after many attempts Codecs, voice input optimization, background noise suppression. I finally got it pretty darn close. And then it happened. My perfect magical lab-grown demo shattered into a million pieces against the beautiful, complex, and completely unpredictable reality of Hawaii's linguistic landscape. So what's funny is during some of my ChatGPT therapy sessions, it had called it the Pidgeot Gauntlet. It just kind of stuck. So this slide says it all. My lab had predictable requests, clear audio, and expected responses, but in Hawaii's reality, it was decline. While wind whips past the phone on the H1, crosstalk, aunties with thick accents yelling in the background to correct their husband's phone order, tourists asking questions that I never imagined. I literally spent weeks training call center just on the local dialect, with daily corrections. And it's way better now, but it still struggles with sarcasm. To be honest, I did too. So here's the most important lesson that I learned the hard way. When a human doesn't understand an order, it simply says, sorry, can you repeat that order? Can you explain what that is? But AI doesn't fail that way. It fails by misunderstanding, long pauses, or frequently interrupting the caller. In one of my early calls, I was actually listening while I was writing this, someone had asked for a bookkeeper. Now keep in mind, if you know how AI works, or how voice AI will work, we use voice transcribers. I use deep grammar, and it puts it all into text. So the text for poke is P-O-K-E, which is poke. The AI confidently replied, I'm sorry, we don't allow physical contact with the bowls. They are just for eating. That call did not go very well, but I thought, okay, now it's sassing me about workplace boundaries. But every AI failure isn't just breaking the trust with the customer and the restaurant or my product. It breaks the trust with the restaurant, and that's a sacred trust that you can't break with this. So those painful failures actually were the best thing that could happen with this. They forced me to constantly improve, to develop completely new philosophy, invisible AI. So quick question, when was the last time you guys thought about electricity? You guys probably heard this in other things, but it always stuck with me. Like really thought about how does it get in your house? How does it turn on your computer? How does it turn on the lights? You don't. You just flip the switch and you want it to work. And that's what the local businesses here in Hawaii want. Restaurant owners don't want to be sold on AI features. I learned that. As soon as you say AI, they're like, I don't want that. They just want something that works though, like electricity. You walk into a room, flip the switch, it comes on. With them, they give me their menu, and I turn it on. So that's what I ended up pivoting to a system where a customer never has to think about how to provide the goal. It just works. I had to adopt a done-for-you model. As soon as I did that, customers started coming. So here's how I did it. I do the setup. I mean, yes, I made yes, I made so they can onboard themselves. They have a portal where they can tweak it, they can throw a menu in, but I found me doing it for them is what the kicker was. So I do the setup, they send me a menu pick, I handle everything technical, I listen to the calls daily, because it actually improves it for every one of the customers. I find the patterns, fix the problems, and then I have a system that daily learns from itself. I designed it to fail gracefully, to admit uncertainty, and to ask the customer to please repeat that, and to verify at the very end, did I get this right? The only thing that the owner has to do is forward their calls to call center, and I'll handle the rest. And here's why that's actually so critical that I handle it. If 98% out of 100 calls goes perfectly, that's a 98% success rate, right? I was so happy when I took that vanity number and presented that to my customer, 98%. But all he heard was the 2 customers that were very bad, right? The ones that had it talking over them, interrupting them constantly, mishearing, or lecturing on how not to touch the bowls. So in their perception, this system is not working. This is why it had to be invisible, it had to be reliable. Otherwise, 98% success, you'll still lose the trust. So this taught me something bigger about doing business in Hawaii, and it's that we have a local advantage. Whenever I made my products, it was always national, but this is different. Let's be real, we cannot compete with we may not be able to compete with the mainland on features or funding, but what we can absolutely compete on is local fit. They have to build for scale, we build for needs. They assume tech-savvy Silicon Valley users, we assume users just want it to work. They create self-service portals, we'll handle it for them with the law. They compete on features, we compete on trust. So this brings me to the core idea that I want to leave you with. Nobody wakes up, or the local businesses don't wake up saying they want to go buy an IAM system. They don't want to give it to their customers and their money. They wake up just wanting their problems solved. So our job isn't to make artificial intelligence more impressive. It's actually to make it more useful, to make it invisible, to make it reliable, and to solve real problems for real people. And the problems here, they're everywhere. They're in our community, you can find it in technology, and the technology is ready. So here's my final question for you. What's your version of the ringing phone? What problem do you see that needs to be solved? Our community needs people like us, people willing to do the hard, unglamorous work of making technology useful, even for people who aren't tech savvy. The opportunity's waiting. I know this is really cliche, but the phone is ringing. Are you gonna pick it up? Any questions? If we have time, I want questions.
Go for it. How do you get the customer's menu into your system?
A couple different ways I've had to do it. First of all, a lot of times I was able to take it from the online ordering, which I found 99% of the time was wrong.
Yeah.
You know, when they work with systems like Clover, it's not easy to work with necessarily. And by the way, don't tell my boss, because I actually sell Clover here. I used to work for Clover. I used to work for Fiserv, who actually own here, but the truth is, the online system seems like people just give up after a little bit.
Yeah.
Toast does a better job. But I found actually just taking a picture of it, and then I can put it into AI.
Yeah.
Claude does a great job with that. But more often than not, I'm correcting it, getting it right. I'm putting it into a format that it can understand, and then I'm training it how to understand the differences between the two. I definitely struggled with certain like Greek words, certain Greek pronunciations, until I finally learned how to give it a phonetic library for it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
How are you able to manage the
I use different models. I try to choose the best, but you can't choose the absolute best. That's another thing that I pulled out here when I ran out of time. By the way, as soon as I'm done with time, just flag me down the spot. I can get it down so low, and I can get the responses perfect, but the problem is it goes to $3 a call. And your customers, they don't want that, especially with all the spam calls they might get, or people just asking random questions like over, like how do we get to your place, what time are you open till? So to keep the cost low, I had to do a balance. I found what works really well for me is Gemini Flash 2. Deep Brain, okay, is another one that I use. I use the Note 3 more often than not. Depending on what they're asking, I do have an engine that will switch the LLM. I use N8N because it's visual. It's much easier for me to do programming with that than it is for me to code it. But I'll switch it up. I have it down now to 800 milliseconds. So it gets a little bit longer, especially when you have Twilio in the factor. But do it straight on web, it's faster. Yes, sir.
How many concurrent phone calls can your phone number take? What?
I can handle a lot. So right now I have it set up on 200 at a time, but I can easily stretch like 1,000 or more. The more customers I have, I'll make sure I have backup for them so that each of them can handle these calls. But it has to be elastic, otherwise I'm paying really too much for it. But being the fact that I can go right into Twilio, keep adding members and keep transferring them and switching. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's even hard to do. Basically, with N8N, I take the transcript. I have, you guys can picture it. I have it on this computer right now to do it, or have it set up right now. But N8N, it takes the transcript. It's got another agent, first agent that evaluates the transcript and is looking for specific things. Where did it misunderstand? So I gave it the prompt that you are somebody who's evaluating this, right? Find where the AI answered in a way that humans would not, and it puts it all into notes. Then at the very end, I have another one that's comparing that with the original prompt. It sends me the suggestions on what I have to do, and then I play with it in the test environment before launching. But that's how I can do the daily ones. It can go without me, but I do check it because sometimes it's just repetitive. His arm looks like he's holding it up with that one. Yeah, I'll go first. Yes, sir.
So I have a couple of technical questions.
Yeah, what?
Technical questions.
Yes, sir.
So first off, do you have like some kind of API